Jude, what's going on? How you doing? SM, what's going on? Master, how you doing? Exalted, everyone is here. You know, that was 4 people. Everyone is here. Back in court? Yes, sir. Well, I mean, not just yet. We're gonna go back to the investigation. I'm conflicted because I want to buy this game, but I also want to watch you play, but I don't want to be spoiled. Oh no. Pepe hands. Rompo, what's going on? How you doing? Alright, last time we were here, I didn't check the special contents that I had. So, let's see. We got some new outfits, too. Iris's homemade... Oh, we're getting spoiled. Let's see. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's more blue, which kind of fits more to, kind of fits to the whole Phoenix vibe. You even got the red tie, too. Wait, did that say it's only available in 2? Okay. Interesting. What are escapades? Some short extra episodes. Okay, that's pretty cool. We can check those out after we're done with the game, I assume. Alright. But let's get back into it. And I assume we're gonna get our title card too, so I'm not even gonna bother reading it here. Episode 2, The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with
Not
bated
Sholmes.
breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band.
The presentation on this is
The terrible
great.
coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
I am AJ Xander SNR. What's going on? The 9th of January. So this is a little under 2 months, like a month and some change since the last case. Oh.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different
Yo!
nationality.
Yo! He's got a loud insert.
This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What?
Don't be absurd. This is murder. An in-cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper-thin.
Spaghetti, Reshi, Mare, what's going
The
on?
culprit is in there.
Who are you? And where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Holmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Don't let it be me. Don't let it be fucking Ryunosuke in that cabinet, bro. Japanese dub still keeps the original names. Yeah, I assume. Ah, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait, I can't move. Well, you can move. It's just not in the way you, like, you move your hands up, like you can move. But anyways, why am I in handcuffs? Oh, okay. So it was us in the cabinet. I assume we were knocked out and put in there. So you wake up now, Oh, that's the say. I thought that was gonna be Herlock. We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You were truly a cold-blooded man. You found me then. Should we try to go for the Russian shit too? Duh, we found you, and now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in a tiny wardrobe, Sorry. Now you have been found. It is time to admit to your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Oh, okay. Susato. Why did you do it? How did you take his life? Miss Susato! Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ah, you pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in the sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuse. What? Kazuma was... Oh! Ah, well, you know, remember when I said bad things happen to mentors? I didn't expect it would be Kazuma, but that kind of sucks. Well, at least he got to curse the ouchies before he went out. Salutes my man. Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. Well, I mean, it looks like that was displaced. What's going on, Zay? How you doing? His body? Please, do not try to tell us you are doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. These handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma's life? Answer me, please. No. No, big nose. He killed a man while handcuffed? Accelerated? Come on, man. They found him inside of a cabinet, and they arrested him because he's under suspicion of murder. He woke up, and he was in handcuffs. It was just 2 short weeks ago. How'd you like the investigation games? Because, oh, is the investigation in this kind of like the investigation for well, I'm saying the word investigation a lot. Is it like the same how it is in the Edgeworth games? Because that's pretty cool. Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else would you come to England with me to study? There's really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was going to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. Really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. Must be even less of a man than you look. Okay, no, what the fuck is that about? He's just small, right? Like, he's just small. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Alright, so one thing that I just saw that I wanted to look for was that lock is undisturbed, as it is right now. I'm trying to see as much of this, because this is from 2 weeks ago, right? Or at least in the time frame of 2 weeks ago. So, lock undisturbed before the murder. We'll have to figure out exactly what caused it to be that way later. We're gonna look for his trunk. We know that in the future, the body of Kazuma has written out a word in Russian, which doesn't make much sense because, as far as we know right now, these motherfuckers do not speak Russian, or let alone is legible in Russian, enough to the point of writing a word like in almost perfect penmanship, right? With ink. If you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. Or, I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we were done, then that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. Suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come up and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding him inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yeah, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. Tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? And I can stick it over the wardrobe's doors once you're inside. I don't know. I've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England, together. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Duh, you said before. You said you would admit everything about your crimes. It was about being stowed away. Okay, so everything on this shelf is knocked over as well. I didn't see behind him to notice if the trunk was there. So this stuff got knocked over. Lock broken. No, that's not right. I mean, yeah, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Trunk is still there, too. Susato. Just coming to the stream when I hear Chris making the sailor Russian. I got some news for you, buddy. That sailor is Russian. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. God, I wish. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream? And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. Are all of you fucking crazy? This thing is okay, so maybe I'm insane. Maybe they had to open this to like kick down the door, right? But this seems like it's just displaced, right? Also, this was on the table over to the right last we saw. This little bone down here. You guys can see my cursor, right? Like I'm not moving this around for only my observation. What's going on to default username? How you doing? In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit could only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What exactly happened? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Yeah. Please, Hisato, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. I didn't even think about that. If they're not able to determine cause of death just on examination, yeah. Because I'm still thinking that I'm still mentally stuck in current world rules, right? Where they're not able to determine cause of death, like, at all, right? Because they don't have the means to facilitate that, like, investigation process, right? But you can still look at a body and see, like, oh, was that guy shot? Was that guy stabbed, right? I just have to remember that. So he doesn't look like he received bodily harm, right? So I assume that would rule out like a stabbing, a shooting, strangulation. We're looking at maybe poisoning again. But there's this like smudge mark on the floor here. So I wonder exactly what would, unless they haven't really looked at him in depth, right? All right, about the incident. Can anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Yes, I was, but... He would always wake up before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. Oh. Okay, so this is like the hallway view? Was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato arrived at his cabin door? Wonder. I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced open the cabin door. Okay. So... unless investigation leads us to find that the lock was tampered with before the crewman opened the door, then, because at this point, if the room is locked, there has to be a way for him to access the bolt before or outside of the room, right? Which is very possible. It could be the steward, right? And they're cleaning, right? They might have a way to relock the doors. But that's something to find out. There was Kazuma, collapsed on the floor. So, I'm trying to look at it, like, upside down, right? But I'm not able to make it out. Like, looking at it from, like, left to right this way, I can't really see. Because I was like, maybe it's not Russian, maybe it's actually just a word. But I can't make anything out, right? It's Russian? Well, yeah, they told us it was in Russian, right? So I had no choice but to believe them. But I'm not super familiar with Russian, and my ignorance led me to think, like, what if Russian just looks like letters upside down? You know what I mean? Because the other thing could have been, like, what if it wasn't Russian? He was writing a message to Ryunosuke, right? It means wardrobe. Yeah, okay, so even the great Herlock Sholmes should be able to figure out that if he wrote wardrobe, we wouldn't hide inside the wardrobe, nor have the means to place the little sign on the outside that says keep out, right? So, with that understanding, the game points it out later, so maybe it would have been better to wait till then. Unfortunate. But I mean, even without the information that it says wardrobe, right? Like, the fact that it says something in Russian, right? Like, somebody that would know that, right? Like, it's written in Russian, and it looks like it's written very calmly and composed. Wouldn't have A, been murdered, B, wouldn't have had time to write it, and assumably with Ryunosuke in the actual cabinet here. So, unless Mr. Herlock is I assume they make Herlock Sholmes, right? I assume they make him a little bit, I don't want to say not as smart, but not, like, to maximum capacity, because we as the player have to work on it. This isn't a Sherlock Holmes game, this is a great Ace Attorney game, so potentially. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything happened. He must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard for me to believe too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yeah, alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Hey. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yeah? I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma's cabin for so long without him noticing? No. That would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you. But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. Don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you. It's because we're the Ace Attorney. Excuse me, we're the Great Ace Attorney. It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yeah, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it. I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yeah, maybe. Something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then was darker than I've ever seen it before. So you be looking into his eyes a lot? Okay, that's pretty cool. Susato, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma, I expect he was trying to protect me. To avoid me becoming guilty by association. Okay, so you guys had a mutual understanding then. You knew exactly what was going on. Cool. Big sippy. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. Last night. If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is... Podcast. Don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat just like he always did. Opened the cabinet. Oh, I thought the food was gonna be inside the cabinet with him. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yeah. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma was killed? Well, yeah. No, it sounds unbelievable. Really, I do. But it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? The vent is right here, so maybe some sleeping gas of some sort. Could you imagine the person in here just heard Ryunosuke snoring inside the wardrobe and was like, Okay, well, I'm just gonna write something here, and then I'm gonna be on my way. Is something wrong? No, it's... Please, forget it. Susato, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly have done this. And that's where you're wrong, kiddo. So, let me ask, right? Because my memory's a little bit hazy. Has there ever been an Ace Attorney game where the protagonist got accused for murder twice in a row? Because I don't think there has been, right? Yeah, because in JFA, the first case was the baseball mitt, right? In the first game, the first case was Larry, right? Yeah, no, I don't think in like subsequent like cases, like case 1, case 2, there's ever been a protag that's been like accused of murder twice in a row, right? Because even in game 1, it was Larry and then Phoenix slash Maya, right? Because Red White's a dickhead. Kazuma, don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. Can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry. Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm gonna go instigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Oh, we got folded. Oh! We're upside down. In the air. This is POV, you just got knocked down versus Milia. What the... That was a Susato takedown. Susato what? What martial art form is that? Wait, are we still just upside down? Where the fuck? How are we being held in this position, right? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. How am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? Also, time to check the court record. Oh, we have this. Cosmo would stick this over the doors of the wardrobe for me. It says keep out in Japanese, though I'm not sure the Russian crew can actually read it. Interesting. Adhesive? You can see the remnants of glue. Okay. Though it was improper glue, of course, we didn't have any of that with us. Well, I pulverized some rice into a paste to use it. Okay, genius. I got you, I got you. He's smart, he's smart. He's probably on his back. Yeah, but we're on, like, the ceiling. Like, let me point it out when we get back into the room, right? Alright. So, rice paste, right? Anything about this? Paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember... Okay, it would have been different if Kazuma wrote this, right? but we even saw in the flashback that Kazuma told us to write this. I remember working really hard to make it, but I'll never forget how Kazuma reacted. Do you expect the Russian crew to be able to read that? He said. Still, I was sure people would get the idea even if they couldn't read it. So we used it anyway. And it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. Alright. So, we used rice to stick it to the, or rice paste, essentially. A makeshift rice paste to stick it to the wardrobe door. Alright, and let's see. Who do we have thus far? Damn, when he was taken from this world, bro, that sucks. Not again. This girl is not 16. Come on. Come on. This girl is not 16. Yeah, okay. Okay, but look at where we are, SNR. The bottom of the door is not viewable. We're looking at the ceiling right now. We're not even looking at the floor. We're like on the fucking ceiling. You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. I see. He's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato to believe me. I guess this, right?
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Yeah, she flipped us and she is using spirit gravity to keep us in place on the ceiling. What's going on, Ben? Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered how you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. If I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Never thought about that, did you? Silly bitch. Got him. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, we're on the ceiling. You put us on the ceiling. I don't know how to break it to you. I can see why Kazuma thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato. Now, I think perhaps you could help me up. Well, in light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Thank you! So you finally believe me? Sorry, no. What? Not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. Is this bitch serious? Does she think I am a magician? Ooh. For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. Is this the investigation theme? Alright, let's get to work, Susato. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. You heard both versions already? Have I heard this before? I don't remember hearing this before. Okay, no, we have heard this before. I just didn't remember the intro to it. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, perhaps. Or, for example. Right. Well, anyways, I should make a start on investigating in here. Everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. Alright. Move. Yo. Okay, first of all, it's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. That's all that's left of the chicken? Where are the other bones? A whole roast chicken? That's a big-ass bone. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato. Ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. Kazuma didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Oh dear, that won't do. What's the matter, Susato? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Yeah, that's not good. Suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo? Is this a tutorial on how to turn the room? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got you. B and M, though? That's a weird layout. What does N do? Does it return to, like, default view? Suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Alright. So, whoa, and it gives me a check mark. Yo, that's dope. Big fan. Big fan of that. This is Kazuma's katana. That's Kazuma's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. And he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on his trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. Now he's gone. I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Eat your chicken, Kazuma. Alright, so let me see. And is not doing anything. Okay. Let's see. I mean, I guess? What's this about? Seigi, Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. I don't know about that first one, but okay. Yes, his calligraphy was always a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at these characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship, that I'm guilty of. That I confess to. Do you remember? Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. Alright. Obviously, demand, but when I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. Quite small bolt and not particularly sturdy. Just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door being bolted, there will be no way to get in or out of the cabin. That's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. She glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the door, from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There will be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. She glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. You already said that. Okay, so we got this mess on the floor, which I don't think is part of the investigation. Got the boy here. Let me look at this, because this stuff, like I said, is knocked over. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look. They've all toppled over the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yeah, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked. Everything mown down at once. I wonder if... perhaps it was Kazuma's doing his morning sword training? Come on. Come on. You wouldn't have been that bad.
Welcome to the family, son.
How are we feeling, folks?
What's going on, Icy Tenjo? Welcome back for the 7 months. Appreciate it as always. Thank you for sticking with the family. We're feeling pretty good. We got accused of murder, you know, as part of the course for this game thus far. I seriously doubt it. And perhaps it was you, Naruhodo. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Thank you, Susato. Is this implying that there's something missing? I don't know. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burya. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or any other dangerous objects in their cabin. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Oh, that was Ryunosuke. Whoops. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? Keep saying shit to me like that, I might be the first one. I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Alright, and we got this little smudge mark and pink shard. Oh, this looks like a... It kind of looks like a teacup or a bell, right? What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener on a kimono outfit. Not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He would have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him. Would he? The mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has sort of a brick-like hue, like blood. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Ace Attorney and bricks. Not a great look. I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. So it's probably not blood, but fun fact for those of you that didn't know, blood when it dries like this usually it takes on this like tint of like brownish, like reddish brown. I just think that's neat. Alright, so not the lantern. We're gonna save talking to him last, because I assume that's the guy that opened the door. Did Kazuma write that before he died? Looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Kazuma. Oh, poor Kazuma. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I think you missed it earlier, begin slandering the Lakers. I mean, you can slander the Lakers all you want. They have Westbrook now. Suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? Sorry, partner. Can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo. Then what language is it? Well, I mean, if it's not Japanese, and you don't recognize it as English, and we're on a Russian ship, Ryunosuke. Pains me to admit it, but don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Now we got the trunk. It's a very large traveling case, isn't it? It carries a lot of memories from me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. Was brought on board inside that case. I see. It says this way up in Japanese. Which in hindsight I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't have been able to read. It was turned over and over and over. Then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Why does it sound romantic? Why did it sound romantic? It was less painful than a Susato takedown. Alright. Oh, I thought this was going to be for the ink bottle. Bottle. Aha! I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that. I suppose maybe that's it. Or other things can get in through here, like sleeping gas. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yeah, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. Last night was no exception. Because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Alright. Desk. This is where dear Kazuma would have sat when he was writing. Yo, look, okay, we get it. You like him, okay? Back up. Not a lick of Russian inside, is there? How about that? Poor Kazuma. Didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means, what? He was in the middle of writing when the incident happened? See what it says. It could be a valuable clue. And now he's over there now. That's out of the question? Bro, come on. Kazuma may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. What if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? What kind of training did she go through to toss us upside down onto the ground? Upside down onto the ceiling. You guys are forgetting the perspective. I know it's supposed to be that we're on the ground, right? But from the camera angle that we get, she is tossing us up to the ceiling and locking us in place. Hello? Who's that? Wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might just be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is, or how he got in here. But he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. Doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And he's investigating... Is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? Can't tell. Well, in that case, we must simply talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Yeah, I haven't because I was saving the crewmate, but, right then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Alright, but before we do... Handcuffs and under house arrest by the crew. Not to mention Susato's constant glares. I think it's fair to say that I'm stuck in this cabin for the time being, at least. I should focus on investigating here to see what I can find out. I wanted to see if we could even go anywhere else. But it was nice. Alright, Mr. Man. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how's it going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime. Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. That is useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Be a real dick move if someone tier 3'd every time Chris was at the climax of each case? I mean, I don't think we have tier 3s like that in here, Gallus. That's a crazy idea, though. Niet. Of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. He knows something. Alright. And now for the main man himself. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. Seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. Ah! What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Oh, shit. Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst adventuring towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are merely, or as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And, yo, this guy is fucking crazy. When the Barrowman occupant of this cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, aren't you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person that fits the bill. So it's true. You're a moron. It was you who did this to Kazuma. What? And you're plotting a revolution, too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way I... Whoa, plague be upon ye. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. That was a weird... Is that supposed to be, like, investigation over? How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary. Obviously. Oh. Forgive me. And it's for you! What kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yeah, maybe. Ah, there you have it, you see. What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles. You see, I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The imitable Sherlock... almost did it. Almost fucking did it. Almost did it. And this is a nice theme. I like this. I actually really like this. Oh, I can imagine what kind of remixes there are for this. Yeah, this bangs. So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Sholmes? The very same. The imitable actual Sherlock Sholmes. Do you know this man, Susato? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. You will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Lock. If you want to play a drinking game, every time his name is on screen and I go to say Sherlock Holmes, take a shot. If, of course, you're not inclined to do anything else later on in the night, because have fun getting fucked up. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Hey, my man. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. I see, you're German. Herlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Sholmes. I wonder if that what that joke would have been, right? Had this have been like the fan translation. Hair forehead, hairlock, yeah. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Yes, Rant's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah, yeah, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist of a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories you started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backwards. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in a magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy as of late. Why, this very moment I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. Science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. Yeah. Where's Apollo Justice at? A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in a blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction. And fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. I like the cut of this guy's jib. He's stupid. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Cosima this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Herlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh, really? Two facts, you say? Okay. Ooh. Got two things. Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes, but first let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yeah, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. Well, there's our translation. Thank you, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Not even gonna try it because I don't fucking know. Like, how does one pronounce a triangle? I don't get it. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. You really think Kazuma could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garderobe might be the name of the killer. A Sergeant Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at the least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. So it's Garderobe. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim in the message, but I might analyze it for possible hidden details. Yes. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yeah, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. You alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes. Thank you. Our man's is dead? Yeah. Mentor got smoked. I told you, bad things happen. What's going on, Solaris? Alright. Purple ink. Okay. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that. Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Yep. Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian. Alright. Now, can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. The now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary, an assassin of 16 part. Yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads... Bro, ain't no way you think that's me. Just look at this guy. Actually, super look at this guy. Why is his mouth so low? His mustache starts up here. Yo, this guy has a fucked face. Yo, I'm so sorry, my man. Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? Sounds like Mr. Sholmes concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik. No. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man, just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after not. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And, might I add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes. The journal clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? I wonder. And what about the part you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article, Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Oh, great. Here, take this paper for yourself. A little memento of this great deduction. Thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. Ah, is that important detail? Yeah, that's Herlock Sholmes. What you mean, Toku? What's going on? Alright. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back. Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you. Though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Alright, so let's see. Maybe there might be a picture. Da-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Who? This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. Can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy your articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. I'm glad you noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned Primera ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Dusato's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yeah, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Now, for my sake of memory, I need to go onto the Google.com real quick, and I need to look up 20,000 rubles to USD, $273. Okay. Could this be a case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. Currency value changes? Alright, so let me see. Ruble value... 1890, right? Is what we said? No, how much was 10 rubles worth in 1899? Is an article that I found. According to this table, $1 in 1897, $1 was worth 1.97 rubles. All right, so doing a little bit of rounding, will say that $1 is worth 2 rubles. So 10,000 rubles in or excuse me, $10,000 roughly if we divide it. So let's see, 10,000 USD inflation, 1890s. $10,000 in 1890 is now worth $298,567. What the fuck? Bro, money be doing the crazy thing. Yeah, I'd flee the fucking country too. You ain't ever finding me. Holy shit. Not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright, so we got that. I don't assume that we have anything for this other article. I assume that's the main one. Thank you for translating for us, Mr. Herlock. Alright, and what were you just investigating? Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Oh yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. Did he read his diary? We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. But... I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Oh, fuck, I love this guy. Tragic. And something you want to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. She's not gonna do it. Whereas screenshot? No, I'll get it later, don't worry. Susato? Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? Sorry, Naruhodo. What on earth do you mean? Bitch. Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to the details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado. Nado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. Bro, come on. Somebody's gotta get her. We must stop at all costs Miss Susato from just walking about this ship. She is a menace to not only us, but everybody else. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. Final entry here in Kazuma's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. Whistling, you say? Whistling sound. These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. Second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? What on earth does that mean? A hose, if you will. Oh, does that mean the fucking cutscene was him being stupid? I really hope the little, like, animated cutscene before the chapter started was just Sherlock Holmes being an absolute moron. Fuck Sherlock Holmes, god damn it. It's gonna happen so many times. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yeah, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been added. Drink? Yeah, like I said. Sherlock Holmes book reference? Yeah, who would have thunk? So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. You have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. This matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? What? Why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Ah, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter, no? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection as naming you as the culprit at any point. Someone get him. You must be joking. You just said it. Only a moment ago. Dear me. Well, clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. Off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Ah, y'all are... okay. Okay. Y'all got jokes over there. I appreciate that. That's actually pretty funny. I enjoy that. Thank you. Naruhodo, what are you just standing there for? Eh? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way up! Please stop doing this. I beg you. After Kazuma spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for the chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there's still things I can do to help myself. I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this. And bring the real culprit to justice. But not to Apollo justice. Oh. Another Roshin. Something wrong, Naruhodo? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. Can't help but feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right. It does look familiar. Excuse me, sir? Okay, so when he pulled up in the first case, I didn't really expect it, but he's our gumshoe, isn't he? What's going on, Hosonaga? Recognize that face, but can't be. Have you not seen a doctor? What? I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. Yeah, no, he actually just dropped dead. That's what happened. Thank you for the astute observation, Susato. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again? Z just typing in time, what a guy. What's going on, Zach and Z? How you guys doing? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. We're expected to see this man on board. Perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Alright. Hey man, why were you investigating? You were investigating for what? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? Well, we know he's undercover. Oh. I'm so sorry. Huh? This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi's bodyguard. Oh. How did you fail then? What happened? Where were you? It was Minister of Justice Jugoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi would reach Great Britain without being assassinated. Well, mission fucking failed. We'll get him next time. Assassinated? How could that have even been a possibility? I'm not sure. These are complicated times. There are tension between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said that we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi a visible security escort. And why the fuck not? Actually, why not, though? Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night every day. I never imagined it would happen here inside his own cabin. Not here on the first-class deck. Unfortunate. I failed miserably at my assignment. Nasogi is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. Permission to go aboard, Captain? We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not. Really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there, would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo. By presenting you with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Okay. Yeah. Just the same as when you're in court? Yeah, exactly. I really like how the tutorial, like, stuff for Ace Attorney always pops up. Ace Attorney and Danganronpa, like, they're two completely separate, different, like, ways of presenting tutorials. Like, in Danganronpa, the tutorials for a lot of stuff just, get, like, brought up by, like, the help menus, right? The help text, right? And they actually act as a character, right? The person in the, tutorials. But in Ace Attorney, the tutorials are actually brought to you as, like, dialogue, right? Which is still kind of nice. It's a little bit of cognitive dissonance because simply select the present panel and choose some evidence to present. Yeah. Alright, yeah. I think I might know what we can use. Alright. Because he's talking about something coming out of the grating, right? Why not present? Do I need to click this again? Wrong menu, brother. I mean, I'm going into the court record. What menu do I need to go into? Oh, that's right. Yeah, no. I get it. Yeah. We gotta go to the, We gotta get out of talking to him, because we're still in converse, right? Yeah, present. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? That is strange. We're still trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we can investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. Can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But well, what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment and then Naruhodo. Select move. Okay, yeah, of course. We'll go to, I assume, cabin dos. Oh. 9th of January, 7:48 a.m. SS Burdia, first class cabin passageway. What's going on, Goose? How you doing? KS. Whew, finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. This is the most luxurious accommodation. What's going on, Swave? How you doing? Yes, indeed. Kazuma was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Damn. Oh! Look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch. And he looks enormous. Even if he is sitting down, his shirt's a little bit too small, though. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. Suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. Suppose, like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd been used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. I was in a fucking cabinet for the 2 weeks. Yeah, I know, but the thing is, it was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. Ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. Must have been a very trying time for you. Please don't give me that pitying look. Alright, well, I want to look at some things in here. Huge book on top of the table there. There's a pen next to it. That looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? Writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. I wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. Thought he might appreciate the compliment. Not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo. Even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Okay, that didn't get added to the court record, right? If it was mostly blank, that means there's still some shit in there. Alright. Oh, it's literally a, I thought I was gonna say like this looks like a mousetrap, but it's actually a mousetrap. You have plenty of those back home in Japan. They seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what this... Really? When did Japan get... Hold on. I feel like a fucking moron. When did Japan get cheese? Would have been brought over from Korea around the year 560. So these two just don't know what cheese is. Okay. Cheese. I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. Don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Or you. Find a little snack for you later. Thank you. Okay. Alarm? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? Ryunosuke. That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. Looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. That's fucking broken. What the hell? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. Wish everything would just stop. This ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Alright. The ship section. This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck. Look. The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but... how is it that such a huge lump of metal just doesn't sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo. It is? Is Susato better than Maya? I don't know. I think I like Maya presented in full a little bit better. Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan. Yes, they're not metal, but they're enormous lumps of earth, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. Kazuma got waxed? What? How? What do you think we're investigating for right now? Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid? Damn. You seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Susato. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman. Beef Stroganoff. Man! Best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Borea steamship, for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Ah, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. But Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you? If I may, I was wondering. The cabin next to Mr. Asogi is currently occupied. Duh. Susato, do you understand that? It sounded like duh. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. His Japanese name was Mitrov Stoganov. Mitrov was a joke on meatloaf. Okay, so beef stroganoff, yeah, that makes more sense. Yes, it's tantalizing. I wonder if Susato has powers like Maya. Well, she fucking flipped us like a goddamn coin about 4 times now, so... that's a power in and of itself. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Royal. He is very important Western gentleman. Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East islands. We're just very racist. I don't know what's going on with this game, but a common theme I'm feeling is racism. Just got here who died? Kazuma. That was harsh. Did you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it. Even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time. I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin. Or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Isn't that right? It is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Not like that. Translation team, come on. You didn't have to do that one. That one was just a little bit too much. Yeah, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about student boy. You want to watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Hit! Susato, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. So nothing unusual. Nothing at all. Oh, that's supposed to be Niet. I didn't realize the H was pronounced like the NY. Damn. I'm learning Russian again. First it was the wardrobe thing, now it's how letters are written. I said no! Sorry. Not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Ah. This is enough. I can say no more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yeah, alright. Bulkhead to second-class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Or as English say, when pigs fly. Yeah, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Okay, so... top of the table there really is huge. We already looked at this, right? But maybe now we're going to see the actual inside. Or not. Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Okay. I thought it would have different text because Mr. Beef Stroganoff is not here. Light out right here, but alas. Got that. This. You can try it. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve this particular mystery. Let's ask. Answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one to help in... There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. Annoying. Big scream. What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. It's probably fucking Herlock, right? Stand aside. Oh. There he is. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes. I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What prey can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. 9th of January, SS Buria, first class cabin. Number 2. Oh! I'm gonna assume that this is our Russian revolutionary friend. Or someone that just looks like him. Doesn't look anything like he does in the paper, though. Right? Like... Look at this guy. Look at how long his nose to chin region is. And then look at this guy. Look at Gaga. Who are you? Western gentleman? The man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. Woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe? Yes, that's me, and you are? I am the one and the only. The actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I am a great detective among great detectives. One who adores the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I don't trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid! How could anyone fit inside a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Beg your pardon? Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah, the case just shook. Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward. So, this is Cosmo's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. No doubt about it. Strange Russian man is high. Is this guy supposed to be Russian? Like, because we were told he's an English gentleman. He doesn't, like I said. This man don't look like this man. Oh, wait. Bad. He don't look like this man. He looks like an imposter, which is very sus. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. What a name. Alright, so let's actually examine around before talking to... do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting. Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardroom whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Pal, what's going on? Oh. And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on. For once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what the most effective weapon is to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please. Well then, what you are about to see may as well astound you, or may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the feeling of a dubious account, or is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you. Or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes... I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh! I must have complete silence. What are you doing? What are you peering at? Why are you peering at my face like that? Just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all of the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Oh, Naruhodo! I've never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholm's great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What ineffable twaddle! Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but... Ah, fuck. I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How? How could you... How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. But plainly, let us work through my deductions together. Yo, what? Oh, okay. So I get what you mean now when you said, do you like investigations? I have to work through his story, right? So before, like, instead of like having all of the working out of stories done in the courtroom, I hope you like this theme. There are 10 variants. Yo, the theme's okay. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott. Obviously, what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. I actually like this, I'm a big fan. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper. In particular, the fascinating front-page article. Which it would appear you have read about also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, that headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of this article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Who the fuck is moving the stage light? It's Mr. Fuck. It's Mr. Herlock himself. Okay, take another drink. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse! What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps. One slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd! And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me. We are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? I don't know what that word is. I know it's obviously coup something. Your careless coup betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found on the pages of this newspaper. Is it Doyle? That's kind of funny. For there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. IDK, I just be saying shit. Quote. It's also pronounced Kudai? Okay. Thank you. I hate and love this motherfucker so much. I love this guy. He's sick. Even though he's stupid, right? Like, I like this character. Kudai? Okay. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolona Pavlova. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky. Susato, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. That did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes. Could you come over here a moment? Bray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes. I recall our discussion earlier. At the time, I believe I told you. The man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small. Clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you pushed really hard. Don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? And if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote certain litheness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. No one heard the H. No one heard the H. No one heard the drink. Another one. This whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something just occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of a matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Usada. It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some keywords in his deductions? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure that if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions. He just like me. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny. And you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? Hey! When those come off? Where are your handcuffs? Huh? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrist when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. I like it. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Alright. So the dubious looking... Okay, this is just a repeat. Okay, so we have to like just get through this, and then we'll get like a what's the word? Cross-examination, like text bar, where we have to present evidence and shit. Not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? Doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. Doesn't quite sit right with me, though. Doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott, either. Which means, I suppose, the deduction is wrong. Try to switch a key word here, and see if it helps matters. This exact part was part of Capcom's E3 presentation, was it? I think I missed this specific thing, right? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. If it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo. Why am I the one to do something about this? Let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott going to use those enormous shears for? Oh. I mean... Oh! Okay, so I click and drag and... Hold buttons. Oh, is it only just this? Bro. What the... What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, no, no. The color is not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylot's head? And how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. So stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here. So do I just have to look at everything he has? I mean, I clicked on it, but do I present it now? Right?
Yes!
Okay. That's a pretty cool effect. I like that. Okay. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman. And judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one's still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Okay, yeah, we just need to use the other article. Nope. Alright, so you just changed the orange shit. Alright. This is actually pretty cool. Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo, you're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? Look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Showings. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. Yes, yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true. Giving Mr. Roylott is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. Suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a whole different direction now. Okay, so this is not logic chess, this is logic puzzle pieces. I get it. This is still very cool, though. Big yawny. So wait. We're not gonna go to trial with this, right? Yeah, there's no way we're going to trial. It's just going to be the investigation phase. Oh! You're on a boat, yeah. I mean, we were going to be porting somewhere. I didn't know if we were going to be going to like a trial room there and then presenting the facts again, right? Because we're still traveling. That was my like thought. Like when we dock, we're gonna be going to the English courts. As though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. All right, I'll do my best.
Yes!
The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. What happened to Naruhodo's handcuffs? Fucking Sherlock. Fuck! Herlock took them off. Drink. Herlock took them off for us to do this. That's right, you hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Nice earring. You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. She kind of bad, though. She's also 15. Solved. Alright, wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion... You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. Alright, so... a traveling case. Hold up. Wait a minute. This one is the ballerina. She's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime that this young woman is apparently committing? See, I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it! Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Oh.
Yes!
But what's in the fucking... The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you've committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. This spotlight shit is so stupid. Nah, that shit's great. I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an earl? Of Prussia. It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point to hiding it now. Come, come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish to remain it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I have ever laid eyes on them. Dear me. We are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup day betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to let us open your case is written in the books on the shelf. He completely changed tack with his deduction now. Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstance, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought up the bookshelf? It's just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem like that's the reasoning why this young woman doesn't want to open her case. Would have been written on a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still. Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. Has to be another reason why she won't open her case. It must be somewhere in the same area if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree. That's the only answer. Whatever she is hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. It's a pet snake. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we got this, right? Exactly the same notice in our cabin, too. Wonder what happens if you break the rules. Dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe. You'd probably be left to drift in the freezing cold ocean, or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I?
Yes!
Bang! Wait, so... One thing I'm a little bit confused about, right? Is the fact that we are getting, what's the word? We're getting to the, like, the actual things we can get wrong, right? And in Ace Attorney Investigations, what was the case was when you got to the stage, you saw a life bar. But I have no life bar here. I assume there might be one when it isn't a tutorial. Also, Naruhodo's fingers look very fucking small from this angle. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage. A pet. You fuck up, you do take damage, but IDK if in this tutorial section. I like that. Back to back like the cover of Lethal Weapon. So clearly you aren't who you said you were. No, I am not Grimsby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel. Which couldn't have been easy. The Prairie is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Would she have really snuck on board without being noticed? Probably being helped by a couple of the sailors. Which only makes sense, right? Ugh. In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you, about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. Like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. Hey, yo! I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself, so no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard? Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearance completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. Picked up the scissors in my hand and... At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. He's still hung up on that. I fuck with Herlock. He's cool. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? I just can't wait until the second game where we inevitably meet Mames Joriarty. That's gonna be fun. Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Those two even talking about the same thing. There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, or if you say to any of the crew. Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night. Yes, all right. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something Mr. Sholm's great deduction? Was certainly something, yes. I'm not entirely sure what, but at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yeah? What? Observe your wrists. My... Your hands are cuffed again. What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. When and why? There is still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say it can't be helped at the moment. Can't it, really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I had to find out what the speckled band that Cosmo wrote about in his diary really was. Alright. Let me see. Don't touch! Huh? I will tell you what I know about last night, but please, you must not touch my things. How do you say, forbid it. Oh, sorry. As well as you should be, young man. What vulgar manners you have. Poking around in a young lady's private belongings. Neither shall I allow it. Hypocrite. Alright. So, what you got for us? Do you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking? Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. Why does this keep happening? I mean, we're gonna get caught off guard. We were so caught up in spinning around and dancing around the room, solving and fixing deductions, that we didn't notice if he was going to put the handcuffs back on us. And honestly, I don't really blame him. You know, I would have been too caught up in the moment too. I'm handcuffed. When? You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet? Yes. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes. And the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well, yeah. Of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. What conundrum, I'm not sure, but... Conundrum. Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose to you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Burya stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you came to be aboard? Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strange when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. My man, Beef Stroganoff. Yeah, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry, what was that? It's how the Russian newspaper described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. Now, I know you do not speak Japanese that well. However, explain. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Wait, we're speaking in English now? God damn it. Mr. Sholmes once said I never can resist a touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, in fact. Almost did it. Yes, yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. Alright, so tell us about your friend. So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case. Is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board, according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell. Don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious... Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. What sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? Maybe an adorable little rabbit. Huh. You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there, then? You may well ask. I have no idea. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken! You know, I'm starting to understand why exactly the Doyle estate would have been like, hey, maybe don't. I'm understanding now. Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a close-guarded secret not to be revealed. He obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Alright. Yeah. Oh. God. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see? It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova? Has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything. Oh. Oh. Excuse me, Mr. Roylock. Oh, wow, that was quick. Yes, what? Oh, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once. Please. All right, I will come now. What? You must leave now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylock. Get out! The passenger said out. Or do you want me to throw you out? Eh. Looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. So we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown out into the passageway inside. Outside. Inside, outside. To be continued right there. Okay. But I think that's an interesting way to combine both the styles of investigations and the OG Ace Attorney games, right? The investigation phases of investigations, right? Acting as you don't have to be in a courtroom all the time backdrop. I think that's actually a very good way to formulate the game. And I actually would like to see, and hopefully this game continues with that theming later, right? But with Ace Attorney, one of my like weird issues was that everything had to always come down to a courtroom, right? No matter what, if you found out somebody was doing some nefarious shit, you found information, it always was going to come down to you going to the courtroom, you presenting your evidence, you going from there to make sure that the person is found guilty, right? And one thing that I liked about investigations is that you didn't really have an instance of this is what it's going to be, right? You're not going to find any particular thing where it's like, I need to remember this for later to bring it to court. It's like, hey, I found this shit, what the fuck's up with this shit? And then it would go from there, which I think is a little bit more engaging. And especially now, right? Like how I was saying earlier, I thought we were going to port and then we would be like, all right, we're going to court, right? So with that, I really do appreciate it. And I think that's because it allows for a lot more dynamic storytelling. Wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we'd managed to find some clue as to what that speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. I imagine we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. It's clearly glaring at us as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh, yes, he's completely disappeared. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. Oh, really? Well, I guess... go back into Cosmos. Might have gone back there. 9th January, Buria First Class Cabin. Number 1. Looks like they're still investigating here. Doesn't look like anything's changed. Yes, on that subject, I would wonder if Inspector Hosonaga is unscathed. What do you mean, unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line. He'd lay his life on the line for you. Oh, yeah. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. See what he has to say for himself. There's some new information for it. Never know. Is he sleeping? Oh, no. Damn. Bro, they fucked you up, huh? Damn. Inspector! What happened to you? Your face is... Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Made by a bear, maybe? When I told the captain I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fist and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against the throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. It looks like he wasn't joking when he says he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. Oh. I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Sherlock Sholmes. I don't think he was German, though. That explains it. Shall we compare notes, then? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it. Alright, cabin next door. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door. Oh, do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case, at least. Oh? How? Is there no way she could have done it? Yeah, okay, shut up. So now I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation in here fruitful? If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed. Ready to hand over to Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. Oh, I see. There is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Did they investigate the body? Cause of death? Do tell us, Inspector, please. What you got? What is this new information you have, Inspector? It's this. Burria's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. There we go. I managed to obtain the report. Oh. Kazuma's post-mortem report. Kazuma. So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what... Somebody snapped his neck? Yo. Yes, it would seem so. There was no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So at first, I think they were considering poison. It turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing has been found as of yet. But the fact there are no signs of a wound suggests that it may have been a blunt object. Something that wouldn't leave a mark. Oh, I see. Yeah, we're on the way to England, and Kazuma is now dead on the boat, and assumably the killer is still here as well. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. Okay, so look at Ryunosuke, realize he couldn't do that, take the fucking handcuffs off. Or Kazuma. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? Ah. Alright. And what about Mr. Herlock? Oh, Mr. Sholmes was here, was he? Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now you mention it, yes. Just one thing, but he practically shouted. "It's shoe polish," was all he said. Shoe polish? I wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there by the piece of broken glass, do you see? Oh, that's shoe polish down here? Perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think? Ah, yes. It must be it. Oh, it's the Naga. How could Mr. Sholmes know that it's shoe polish? Did he lick it? That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Susato? Well, Kazuma was wearing leather shoes of a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? Sort of dark brownish red, then. Yes. A little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him. Oh, does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? Or would it have to be made on the top of the shoes? So he was dragged in here. Is that what I'm to understand? That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmates' eyes are boring into the back of my head. And that might be for the best. Thank you. Or Inspector, you look exhausted. Oh no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi. It was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke this morning. A heavy head? That's interesting. It's still throbbing, too. Okay. So, is there anything else we need to look at in here? Do we need to re-look at this? It's such a beautiful color, this glass. Okay, we've got this. Shoe polish, according to that great detective you seem to all know about. Or to know all about, right? Suppose it must be from Kazuma's shoes. Maybe, but what I'd like to know is, how can the detective be so sure that it's shoe polish and not something else? Because he's a great detective, of course. It's hardly a reason, is it? Okay. I don't think there's anything new in here that we would be getting, so... And I'm going to go through with the old Ace Attorney mantra of, if I walk into an area and I get a, what's the word? I get a little, like, date and time, or a date, time, and location interlude like this, I'm going to assume this is a good place to go. Ah! Look, Naruhodo. Demon Stroganoff is gone. Oh, I thought everything hadn't loaded in yet. Strong enough? Burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us. All these Russian names are impossible to remember. Not the singing. Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Okay. He is literally just vibing. It's Caroline. I know that lark-like voice. Never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us. Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can investigate. And investigate. Definitely, before that Stringy Knot crewman comes back. It's Stroganoff, not Stringy Knot. Alright, well. Look around. Well... Oh, closing there. Pavlova isn't back yet. Sato? Oh, where's she's gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. There's not but a moment to waste, Naruhodo. We must investigate as quickly as we can. Suppose you're right. For Kazuma's sake. Not just for Kazuma. What do you mean? Can't be long now until we arrive at port, Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. Really? We're gonna solve this case, Naruhodo. By ourselves if we have to. Yes, we will. Alright. Let me go back into the hallway and see if I can't... Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes. Look. Never know when he's gonna turn up next, do you? He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply in extremely high spirits? Okay. Excuse me? Mr. Sholmes! What is it? You want to fight? Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing? I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never going to stop, so I figured now is a good time as any. I very nearly dropped to the floor with one of my famous I dropped you to the floor. Okay. Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away? I fucking love that falling animation, it's pretty good. Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you. I thought that singing meant that we could, we would find him in Pavlova's room, right? That he would already be in there, not that he would be over here. Because, you know, I thought it was just gonna be like, oh, is that him over there? Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in the study of the ship's log, as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh yes, the ship's log. And did you find out anything useful from it? Well, after 2 AM this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Racist? Your logic, my boy, is inverted. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, something of note happened because the last diary entry was at 132, right? Or 135, excuse me. Was it 138? We'll never know. Observe the other pages and all should become clear. It would seem the same crewman off stands sentry in this first-class passageway. It is an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes like that every 30 minutes? Nothing to report. Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. Might be punching out here, kind of feeling that time. I'll catch the rest of the VOD and you all later. Take it easy, Ben. I don't know how much we're going to be going. We'll probably be going until the next to be continued. Or if this wraps up quickly. I have no suspicion that it's going to be finishing up pretty quickly right now, but maybe a to be continued. Do you mean there is a to be continued? Okay. Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night which led to the seaman being absent from his post. What kind of circumstances? What happened? That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in a log. This is investigation part 2 of 3. Okay. I'm gonna assume that the whole chapter is all investigation then? Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. You're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Sholmes Sholmes. Brilliance. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more. Well, my friends, until our next encounter. He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway. Is something wrong, Susato? You seem lost in thought. It's just... well, I feel the same. Sorry? Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. Sort of continuous throbbing. Oh, you too? Alright, so that throbbing is obviously going to be very important. Alright. So, let's do a little bit more of examination. Is there anything over here? There's a plate on the floor. Wonder what this little saucer is doing on the floor. And it doesn't look like it's been dropped, more like it was put there deliberately. Ah, do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here? What? A leak? Is this ship quite safe? I'm sure that even if there's a little leak in the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship is going to sink. No, you're right. Of course you're right. She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? Alright. Aruhodo, are you there? Sorry, I'm right here, yes? Why? Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know. Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. So, what I wanted to actually look and see if the, oh, I was trying to look at the, like, obviously I can see the shit's open. I wanted to look at the desk and see if the tiara was there. Miss Pavlova's case is open. It's completely empty inside. But according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there. Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret. Because you're not allowed to bring animals on board the SS Buria. Wonder what kind of animal she had in there. And more to the point, where is it now? If I had to take a guess. So this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin next door. Yes, although what a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room. Ah, maybe. It's so if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm. Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning. Yeah, is a possibility. Anyway, last night, Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this vent. Which means the snake is a little sussy baka. There are just a few books on the desk. Nothing else by the looks of it. Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied in this cabin for any time at all. That's true. I don't know what kind of book she likes to read. Let me see. Yes, I see. It would seem that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian. Thanks. I think I probably already knew that. It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo. Kindly remember that. I suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket, except for the one in our room. Can we have a little look and see what's been thrown away? Naruhodo! It's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know. And those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. Hardly anything in here at all. Oh, well, that's a little disappointing. Alright. Can't look at the bag. All the books have been toppled over together. Look, every single one. You think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? It's toppled too, though. It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door. In Kazuma's cabin. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase. I don't know. She really be practicing ballet on the same night as she ran away from her ballet company? And on a boat, no less? Alright then. It must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage. Not everything bad happens on this ship is because of me, you know. Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again in here, too. I don't like seeing things in disarray. Why does she set it up like that? Ah, what's that? Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter-mile fore. Full stop. Hard to starboard. All hands brace for impact. What the... I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? Sato, are you alright? Are you injured at all? I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo. Looks like we avoided the collision. I think... Yeah, the ship's come to a stop. My goodness, what about you? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Well, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Is that you in there, Naruhodo? Unbolt the door, quickly. Ah, I see. That's what would cause... Ah, we didn't lock it. Hey, how about that, huh? The bolt. Look at that. The door is bolted. Did you do that, Susato? No, I didn't touch it. That's strange. How did... And Look at all the books. They're just like they were before again. Hodo, are you going to open the door and let the inspector in? Yeah, I was. Just tidy this place up first. Violent emergency stop had solved one mystery, at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. Oh, really? That was pretty short. I guess not. Alright, well, I was like, then it's probably going to be going for a while if there's a part 3, you know? Like, the investigation was going to be taking a while. How much longer do you think that we have in this case? I can't imagine it's too much now, because we've solved a couple key issues, right? You guys want to keep going, or should we call it here for now? I'm fine either way. It's pretty much all you guys. I'm down. Fine to stick around. All right. We'll keep it moving then. Ninth of January, SS Buria, Miss Pavlova's cabin. Somehow the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. You! What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Oh, you both look unhurt. Good. Yeah, we're fine, thank you. What on earth